Hello and happy Wisdom Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in and for choosing to spend some of your time with me. I'm Milagros, and during the month of November, we are talking about beliefs, and more specifically, we're talking about new ways of understanding our beliefs and then how we can go about unpacking limiting beliefs so that we can release them with love to make room for beliefs that are going to get us to those next levels of healthier and happier in every area of our lives. And today in particular, I want to talk about our beliefs when it comes to being happy, happiness, or rather our practice beliefs with unhappiness. So when I was younger, maybe 15 years ago, if not more, I remember it was the first time that someone said to me, happiness is a choice. And I remember looking at this guy thinking, I'm going to punch you in your throat, because I thought to myself, what are you talking about? I wouldn't choose to be unhappy. And then I didn't hit anybody. Those are back in my anger management days. And then through research, through time, through thought, through meditation, through conversations with doctors, both neuroscientists and with spiritual guides, I came to find that statement is actually true. And it hurt my feelings, right? Because I wanted to hold on to and believe that happiness is this thing that I can attain based on how much I achieve, how much money I make, how people around me are acting, whether or not my life fits the picture standard, right? So I had held on to these beliefs for so long that is where happiness lived. And then I realized that no matter what I was achieving in my life, I still wasn't happy. I mean, I was having these momentary moments of like, yay, I did that, right? Of achievement and accomplishment, but not this lasting happiness. And it was part of the reason that I really started on this like spiritual journey to kind of find this lasting happiness. And here's 4 things that I want to share with you. So there are 4 things that we tend to do that block us from being happy. And I want to talk about those first so that then I can flip those and give you some tools so that we can use those to change our beliefs so that we can allow more happiness that we deserve and are worthy of into our lives. The first thing is the processing. When we are going through something, we're having a moment, something frustrating happened or someone that we love passed away, we as humans have all of this huge gamut of emotions, and we get to process those. So sometimes we're not feeling happy because we're literally in the midst of processing another emotion that is an alternative to happiness. Maybe it's sadness, maybe it's frustration, maybe it's overwhelm. The key here is to make sure that we don't allow the frustration or the overwhelm or the sadness to embed itself in a way that it becomes who we are. Right? That we do have a choice. So I recognize when I'm not happy, I acknowledge how I'm feeling. I acknowledge where those feelings came from. And then I create a small shift. And I mean small. So earlier I got a call. It kind of hurt a little bit. It was a little bit painful for me. And so I acknowledge I'm hurt and I'm feeling this right now. And it's kind of painful. And so where did this come from? It came from this. Okay, but where did it come from? It came from my expectation of this box. And when it didn't fit the expectation of that box, I felt hurt, not because of the actual incident that occurred, but because the incident did not fit my expectation in the box. And then I'm like, okay, got it, right? Doesn't change the fact that I'm still feeling this hurt. So now it's my responsibility to create a small shift. And for me, personally speaking, movement is a big way that I can change what's happening in my mind. Our physiology, what's happening in our body, and our psychology, what's happening in our mind, are so linked. So for me, moving my body, getting up, putting on a fun song, dancing around, it makes me feel better. I can feel the ease come over me. I'm not 100% back to where I was before the phone call, but I'm definitely shifting and working my way back. So this is why self-care is so important, so that we can practice ways that we know ourselves and we say, oh, this creates a shift for me. This is going to alter this thing. So then I don't allow myself to create a whole belief system out of the incident or the expectation. Instead, I'll reiterate for myself one of my affirmations, one of my mantras, or one of my beliefs that is, I'm a good person, right? I step forward with love. And when I miss it, I apologize. And right. And like those beliefs then make me go like, okay. And it's not like, oh my God, I'm the worst person in the world. Everybody hates me. I processed the emotion. I created the shift. I reaffirmed myself with what I know to be real, right? The second thing that prevents us from feeling or being in a space of happiness is our programming. We have been programmed to believe that our life should be hard. When I ask people, complete the sentence, life is, most people say hard, or they say like difficult or something along the lines of, right? It's a thesaurus of the word hard, basically. And I'm like, life is beautiful. Life is magic. Life is amazing. Life is an adventure, right? So we have been programmed to believe that it's supposed to be hard. There's supposed to be all this suffering. And then after you die, that's where the good stuff happens. No. If you're talking about the Bible says in heaven as it is on earth, which means we can have that here now. It also says that life has been given to you so you can live it to the full of love and peace and happiness and abundance and joy and health. Nobody said full of suffering. Like nobody did. But we have a tendency to fill that in because we have been programmed through generations to believe that that's the way we do it. Oh, everything is so hard. Oh my God, life is the, oh my job. Oh my God. We have to rewrite the programming. So this is where self-awareness comes into play, because we have to acknowledge and recognize when we are playing into the programming. We catch ourselves. We're like, ooh, that came from my childhood, or that came from some primary learning, or that came from school, or that came from religion. This idea that we have to suffer now. And then what happens is when we're operating from that programming and we do feel happy, we cut it off. We cut it off real quick and we're like, I'm not deserving and worthy of happiness. I'm supposed to be suffering. No, you're not. You're supposed to be living a good life. You got but the one life. You came here into this body, onto this planet to enjoy. So you might as well figure out ways to enjoy. Da, 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 da. You know what I'm saying? So self-awareness, and then again, we create the shifts. What can I do? How can I reprogram myself? How can I talk myself into the truth, which is I am deserving and worthy of happiness. I am deserving and worthy of abundance. I am deserving and worthy of peace in my life. Is it going to happen every second of the day? No, but peace is really here. It's something that we root ourselves in, so that like a tree in the storm, when we're all going like this, that root, that trunk is strong. Those roots are deep. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's my peace. Storm might be happening out here, but I'm rooted in peace. So I know where I'm coming back to, right? Practicing that. The third thing that usually keeps us from a space of happiness is payoff. And what I mean by that is some people have been so well practiced at using their unhappiness to get their needs met that there is a payoff in that, and they continue to do it over and over and over again. What it means also is that they have not taken responsibility for their own lives, or have taken on their own power in knowing that they can create a happy life for themselves. So they use their misery and their unhappiness, they put it out into the world, and they, kind of see who is going to come and rescue them, who is going to come and save them. There is a payoff to playing the unhappiness game over and over and over. Now, the people that we attract when we're operating in that way, and yes, it is a form of manipulation. The people that we attract are also people who have self-esteem issues because they're looking for someone to fix so that they can feel good about themselves. There is a payoff. We as humans do not repeat behaviors that don't have a payoff. So there is a payoff in the repeating pattern of unhappiness. When we break that, a lot of times people who have repeated that for so long, and I say, like, I've had a client and this was her payoff. And when we realized that, she went, oh my gosh, what's going to happen if I stop doing this? And all these people around me, what if they leave me? Well, here's the deal, sweet pea. The only reason why some of them are with you is because you're also creating a payoff for them in their need to be needed. So by not needing them anymore and getting healthy yourself, you're giving them permission to do the same. Or you're surrendering another toxic dynamic that is not helping you but holding you back. Now, what they're going to do is not you can't decide that, you don't know, and you also can't predict that. They might just turn around and find someone else that they can rescue because, again, their need to be needed has a payoff. Or they might go like, whoa, I got some work to do. But you're not going to know. And holding on to them and continuing this pattern is clearly not paying off for you, because if it was, you wouldn't be calling me. Right? So that's the other thing. This process, this programming, and this payoff. When you realize, or if you think that that sounds like you and you're like, oh my gosh, my unhappiness does have a huge payoff in my family or in my dynamics or in my relationship, it is scary. I'm not going to lie to you. And it's also very exciting, because imagine if you attracted that person because of what is unhealthy. Imagine who you can attract because you are healthy. What? So again, it goes back to our beliefs around our deserved and worthiness. And you are deserving and worthy of healthy and happy. And the last thing that generally keeps us cut off from our own happiness is trauma identification. So sometimes, we deal with trauma. I personally have shared the story many times. I had some sexual abuse in my past. And so that trauma I carried around for a long time like a badge. I wore it like a sash. Like, look at me, I survived. And it wasn't... It really was trauma identification, where I would then find myself going back to the trauma in order to prove that what they did was wrong, versus I'm overcoming this. What you did was still wrong, and I'm overcoming this to take my power back. Right? A lot of times when we suffer from trauma, especially if we don't go to therapy, we don't go to coaching, we don't get the help that we need to unpack it, we carry it around and we say, look, world, I'm surviving. But the question is, are you thriving? Right? So yes, you are a survivor, and that's amazing and that's commendable. And you also deserve to be thriving as well. You deserve to be in happiness. And when you are in a space of happiness, when you believe that even because those things happen, even with that, you are deserving of happiness, you are taking back your power. You are no longer a victim. You are releasing yourself of the chains of dragging those people or those situations into your present day life, and you are fully living. And I'm saying this from experience, not just running my mouth, right? So in that case, again, the thing that would benefit people the most who are dealing with residual trauma issues is therapy, counseling, coaching, something along those lines that's going to really help you unpack that stuff and provide you with the tools and the skills that you need in order to move forward, right? So when we have given ourselves ample time to process our trauma and allow ourselves to return to a natural state of happiness, we are actually validating our deservedness, right? We are reinforcing our worthiness. We're taking our power back. We're discovering our freedom. We're choosing to grow from the trauma. Not every person who faces trauma ends up with post-traumatic stress disorder. Some people have what's called post-traumatic growth syndrome, which is like, I'm going to take this as a stepping stool and I'm going to take a step up rather than let this be the thing that pulls me back. Now, if that doesn't happen for you right away, you can still flip the script, because there's today and there's tomorrow, right? When we do this work, it makes our light even brighter. And then we're holding a space of hope, not just for ourselves, but for others as well. We're saying to ourselves and to others, we are capable of changing our beliefs around happiness, recognizing that we are deserving and worthy, recognizing when we're processing and when we're holding on, using our self-awareness to acknowledge when we're operating from an old program, or when we're, trauma identifying, or when there's a payoff, so that, again, we can start to untangle ourselves from that and live happier and healthier lives. And then here's the bonus, right? When we're dealing with things like trauma or racism or oppression or prejudice or being marginalized or oppressive religious doctrine or imposed limitations or historical or systemic lies, right? When we're dealing with all that stuff, our happiness becomes defiance in the face of that is trying to compartmentalize and minimize us. It is actually like a weapon, if you will. I don't really like that word. It's the only word that could come to mind right now, but it's actually like that. Like, I'm going to take my happiness, right? And I will not allow you to separate me from my joy. My joy is sacred. I'm taking back my power. I'm taking back my happiness. I will not be diminished by your words and your actions. I'm choosing to continuously return and reside in my happiness. And then your efforts of trying to break me are now futile, right? You're fighting against yourself because shing, shing, I'm not letting you in. And we're choosing to continuously, again, return to and reside in our happiness. We find our creative capacities. We tap into our intelligence. We make moves that are going to allow us and others to see that we are deserving and worthy of living a full life. We make a more positive impact on the planet. We root ourselves in love, which means we operate in love, and we have fun. We deserve fun. I know we're in a pandemic. I know we're in a civil rights movement. I know. And I'm still telling you that you are deserving and worthy of happiness and joy and fun. And the way to get there is to pay attention to what you are allowing yourself to keep yourself away from, and then to take those small shifts. We choose to be defiant, and that means we choose to be happy. Today's a good day to be happy. Yes. I deserve to be happy. I am happy. I deserve to be happy. That needs to be our belief in order for us to create those changes here first, so we can create those changes out in the world, right? So this is a little longer than usual, but yummy. I got myself pumped up. Forget about that phone call. You can't take my joy, right? So this is what I have for you today. I hope that this is a benefit for you. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. And if you also know someone who can benefit from it, go ahead and share it, right? It's delicious when we're able to partner up with other people who are also looking for ways to get to healthier and happier, because again, it's like, I'm not alone. And P.S., you're not alone. I'm here. I got you. I'm sending you love and light and peace and joy and happiness and fun, and there's nothing you can do about it, because that is super sparkly everything. Peace!